The polished wooden floorboards were frigid against her skin, seeping a chill that made her bones ache. Ava huddled against the stone foundation of the crawlspace, her hands trembling as she willed her phone to find a network. A single bar flickered weakly, a faint pulse of hope in the gloom. Overhead, footsteps moved deliberately across the floor of the old lake house, and she could hear Leo's voice, calm and conversational on a call, saying something about how isolated the property was, how no one would disturb them. She estimated she had 15 minutes before he returned. Her phone buzzed, the signal holding just long enough. Ava's numb fingers scrambled over the glass. She meant to text a roommate, Chloe, the only person who knew she'd been seeing Leo for the past 4 months. The only one who'd noticed the possessive shift in his behavior. "Help," she typed, her breath fogging in the cold air. "He locked me in the crawlspace. Lake house on Cedar Point Road, past the closed marina. He's upstairs. Says no one will find me. Please call police." So scared. She hit send as the signal vanished again. What Ava didn't know was that she'd reversed 2 numbers in Chloe's contact. The plea didn't go to her friend's phone with its glittery case and lock screen of their hiking trip. Instead, it landed on the secure device of Elias Thorne, a man currently in the back of a dark SUV, scanning quarterly earnings reports for his family's entirely above-board import-export firm and their considerably less legitimate ventures. Elias stared at the message. He received many texts, threats typically, sometimes frantic bargains from those in debt, but this was different. The area code was familiar. The raw fear in the words felt genuine in a way that tightened something behind his ribs. A feeling he hadn't allowed since his younger sister's death 6 years prior. A feeling he'd sealed away. He replied instantly, "Who is this? Give me your location." In the crawlspace, Ava's phone vibrated and a gasp of relief escaped her. But seeing the response, her heart plummeted. This wasn't Chloe's cheerful, emoji-filled style. She stared at the unknown number, horror dawning. She'd texted a stranger. Her fingers hovered. She could try the correct number, but what if this was her last shred of connection? What if this unknown person was her only chance? "Wrong number," she typed back. "But please, I'm not lying. I'm trapped. He's going to hurt me." The reply came in seconds. "I believe you. Tell me everything about where you are. Stay calm. Keep texting me." Elias was already leaning forward, tapping his driver's seat. "Change course. Head to Cedar Point Road." He texted again. "Your name?" "Ava," she typed, then added, "Ava Sullivan. I'm 29. I don't know the address. It's a white and blue lake house, 2 stories. There's a boathouse that's partially sunk about 50 yards out. We passed a sign for Holloway Orchards maybe 2 miles back." Elias knew Holloway Orchards. It had been shut down for years. He also knew the handful of properties on that stretch of shore. "Describe the man who locked you in." Ava glanced at the closed hatch above. "Leo Dawson. Over 6 feet, light brown hair, green eyes. Wearing a dark green flannel jacket. He's an accountant at the firm on Maple. Please, I can hear him walking around up there." "I am 18 minutes away," Elias typed. "Do you know why he did this?" Her hands shook so violently the letters blurred. "I ended things 2 days ago. He was calm about it. Then, tonight, he said he wanted to talk, drove me out here, and once we were inside, he shoved me down here and locked the hatch. He said, 'You're mine, and you'll learn what that means.'" A familiar, icy anger settled into Elias's veins. The kind that made him effective in the shadowed parts of his life. Ava listened carefully. "Describe the crawlspace. Any openings? Anything you can use to defend yourself." She scanned the cramped, earthen space, lit only by a sliver of light from under the hatch at the top of a short ladder. There's a small vent covered with mesh from the outside. Some old gardening tools in a corner, a rusty trowel, some bags of mulch. The hatch is thick, locked from the outside. "Good. Take the trowel. Stay back from the ladder, but where you can see it. If he comes down before I arrive, aim for his eyes or throat. Do not hold back." "Who are you?" Ava typed because this stranger gave orders like someone accustomed to violence, who spoke of it as plainly as the weather. Elias paused. Someone who's going to get you out. That's all that matters. 14 minutes now. Talk to me. Keep focused. How long have you known him? She gripped the cold metal trowel, typing one-handed. 4 months. He was charming, thoughtful at first. Then he got fixated on my schedule, my texts. 3 days ago, he appeared at my yoga class, got angry when the instructor adjusted my posture. Classic pattern, Elias replied. He'd witnessed similar behaviors, though in a different, deadlier context. Control, then escalation. You were right to leave. You're smart, Ava. You will survive this. I'm terrified, she admitted. And somehow, confessing that to this faceless stranger felt easier than saying it to anyone who knew her. Fear is useful. It sharpens your instincts. I'm scared, too. She read that, disbelief cutting through her panic. You're scared? I'm scared I won't reach you in time. Ava's eyes welled up. You don't know me. I know you're a person in need. That is enough. Above, Leo's footsteps approached the hatch. He's coming, Ava typed, her blood turning to ice. I can't hear him at the lock. Trowel ready. You are strong, Ava. Remember that. Whatever happens in the next few minutes, you fight. I am 9 minutes away. 9 minutes. Keep him talking if possible. Make sound. I will find you. The lock turned. The hatch swung open. Leo's frame blocked the light from the kitchen. Ava, he called down, his voice soft, the same gentle tone he'd used when he brought her coffee at work, when he'd remembered her favorite song. I brought you some tea. Are you ready to be reasonable now? She clenched the trowel, pressing herself into the shadows where the ladder met the wall. Her phone was in her pocket, a silent tether to the stranger coming for her, the person who had given her permission to fight back. I don't want to upset you, Leo continued, starting his descent. I just need you to see that we're perfect for each other. You're just confused, stressed from work. When you relax, you'll understand. Elias's SUV sped down the rural highway, his driver taking turns with precision. Elias had 2 other vehicles converging, associates who knew the particular steel in his voice meant no questions. He'd pulled every available record on Leo Dawson in the last 7 minutes. Clean background. Employed at a reputable firm. Good credit. Lived in a renovated loft. On paper, harmless. That was what made such men treacherous. Elias knew. They blended in, wore kindness as a disguise until the mask slipped. His phone remained dark. No new texts from Ava. That meant either no signal or an intervention. Faster, he instructed. In the crawl space, as Leo's foot touched the dirt floor, Ava made a split-second decision. She couldn't strike from her hiding spot. So she stepped into the thin light, the trowel held before her, and she screamed. A raw, guttural sound of fury and fear that ricocheted off the stone and made Leo flinch. Stay back. Her voice wavered but held. I mean it, Leo. Come closer, and I will hurt you. He blinked, genuinely startled. This wasn't the agreeable, soft-spoken Ava he knew. Ava, don't be hysterical. Put that down. You're not thinking clearly. I am thinking clearer than ever, she spat. He took another step. She slashed the trowel through the air, not connecting, but the intent was unmistakable. The metal gleamed dully. Leo's expression shifted. The concerned facade melted away, revealing something petulant and cruel. You're choosing to make this hard? Outside, Elias heard the scream. He was out of the vehicle before it fully stopped, moving toward the white and blue lake house with a speed born of discipline and fierce purpose. 2 of his men followed. He sent a quick text. Extract the woman. Minimum necessary force. The front door was ajar. Elias entered like a storm. In the crawl space, Leo had grabbed a length of weathered 2x4. He and Ava circled each other in the confined space. You'll be sorry for this, he hissed. When this is over, you'll beg for my forgiveness. The only thing that's over is this, Ava said. Then she heard it. Footfalls above. Heavy, rapid, more than one set. Leo heard it too, his head snapping toward the hatch. What did you do? The hatch flew open. Elias descended the ladder swiftly, and Ava saw her rescuer for the first time. He was tall, with sharp features and hair so dark it was nearly black. He wore a tailored suit that seemed incongruous with the setting, making him look not out of place, but dominant. When his gaze swept the space and locked onto Leo with his makeshift weapon, his expression turned arctic. Step away from her. His voice was low, measured, and carried more threat than a shout. Leo, to his credit, sensed the danger.
Who are you?
This is my property. You're trespassing. I'm calling the police. Do. Elias invited softly. I would enjoy explaining to them why you have a woman imprisoned. 2 more men appear at the hatch, their presence silent and imposing. Leo's bravado drained, his face paling. Ava, Elias said, his eyes never leaving Leo. Come here. You're safe. She didn't hesitate, edging around Leo, the trowel still raised until she was close enough to feel the warmth from Elias's body. He shifted, placing himself between her and Leo, a wall of fine wool and latent power. You texted me, Elias said softly, glancing at her. His eyes, up close, were a deep gray, and they scanned her face, checking for harm. Wrong number, right number. It's irrelevant. You asked for help. Thank you, she breathed. He looked back at Leo. Your name. You can't just. One of the men on the ladder took a step down, and Leo capitulated. Leo Dawson. Listen, this is a huge misunderstanding. A lover's quarrel. It's private. Did he touch you? Elias asked Ava.
No.
He locked me in. Said he wouldn't let me out until I accepted we were meant to be. Elias nodded once. Then he moved. It was a blur of controlled motion. One moment he was still. The next, his fist connected with Leo's solar plexus, driving the air from his lungs. Leo crumpled against the wall, the wood dropping from his grip. That was for the terror, Elias stated calmly. Leo gasped, clutching his stomach. You've attacked me. That was not an attack. An attack would leave you unconscious. Trust me, you'd know the difference. Elias took out his phone, photographed Leo, the crawl space, the locked hatch. These are going to the authorities and to select individuals. You will become quite recognizable. He turned to Ava. Can you walk? Are you injured? I'm okay, she said, though a tremor was beginning in her limbs as the adrenaline receded. Just cold. Elias removed his suit jacket and draped it over her shoulders. It held his body heat and carried a faint scent of sandalwood and something unmistakably masculine, a smell that inexplicably made her feel shielded. Secure him, Elias told his men. Take him to the holding facility. Unharmed for now. Let him contemplate his future. Holding facility. Leo wheezed. Elias regarded him with zero empathy. You kidnapped a woman. You terrorized her. You made her believe she might die tonight. Did you imagine there would be no reckoning? Tell the police whatever you wish. Tell them you imprisoned someone and were stopped by concerned citizens before you could escalate. Please do. He gestured. The men escorted a stumbling Leo up the ladder. Then Elias and Ava were alone in the sudden, heavy silence. I really did mean to text my roommate, Chloe, Ava said, because words were necessary to break the quiet. A fortunate error, Elias replied. He was studying her, his gaze assessing. You're in shock. Let's get you out of here. Get you warm, and then we'll address what comes next. She nodded, moved toward the ladder, and then her legs buckled. Too much fear. Too much crash. Elias caught her easily, his arms solid and sure around her. I have you, he said, his voice quiet near her ear. I have you. He carried her up through the lake house and into the cool night air, which felt cleansing. Ava inhaled deeply, and then the tears came, silent shakes she couldn't control. He placed her gently in the back of the SUV, slid in beside her, and told the driver, Mercy General first. I don't need a hospital, she protested weakly. Indulge me. You've experienced a trauma. A medical check is prudent. She was too exhausted to disagree. She pulled his jacket tighter and leaned back. Who are you really? And please don't say a Good Samaritan. Good Samaritans don't have teams of men who talk about holding facilities. Elias was silent for a beat. My name is Elias Thorne. My family owns Thorne Global Imports, among other interests. You may have heard the name. She had. Everyone in the state had heard of Thorne Global, and everyone knew the rumors about the family's reach, the whispered stories of ventures that never appeared in annual reports. Your family, she trailed off. My family operates in certain undefined territories, he said carefully. But that does not mean we lack a code. One tenet of mine is that men who inflict terror on women are held accountable. What will happen to Leo? Nothing irreversible, merely instructive. He met her gaze. He will never approach you again. That is a promise. And he will face legal consequences. I have legitimate contacts in the district attorney's office. Charges will be filed. Ava should have been afraid of this man, this stranger with dangerous affiliations who had just orchestrated an abduction. But all she felt was an immense, weary safety, as if for the first time in months, someone with actual power was unequivocally on her side. Why did you come yourself? She asked. You could have just forwarded the text to the police. Elias looked out at the dark trees rushing past. 6 years ago, my sister texted me. She was at a club. Her date was becoming aggressive. She felt trapped. I was negotiating a contract. I told her I'd call right back.
His jaw tightened.
By the time I did, she was in an ambulance. He'd forced her into his car, lost control. She died the next morning. Elias, I'm so sorry, Ava whispered. After that, he continued, his voice low, I vowed that if anyone ever asked me for help again, I would not pause. I would not delegate. I would not assume it was someone else's duty. So when your message appeared, there was no decision to make. I was already coming. Something softened and shifted inside Ava's chest. The hospital visit was brief. No physical injuries beyond minor bruises and the psychological shock. The attending physician mentioned involving the police, and Elias smoothly stated that a report would be filed first thing in the morning, that evidence was secured, that all was in hand. His calm authority was absolute. People believed him. It was almost 1 a.m. when they left. Ava realized with a start that she had nowhere to go. Her apartment was where Leo would look. Come with me, Elias said, as if reading her thoughts. My home is secure. There is a guest suite. No conditions, simply a safe place while we sort the practicalities. She should have declined. She should have called Chloe, booked a hotel, done anything but go with a man she'd met hours earlier, a man who spoke of undefined territories. But when he offered his hand, she took it. His home was a modern fortress, set behind gates and discreet. Omnipresent security. Inside, it was not coldly opulent but warmly lived in, with art that seemed chosen for love, not price, and photographs of family. The guest room was spacious, with a private bath and a terrace overlooking wooded grounds. You should find everything you need, he said from the doorway. If not, my room is at the end of the hall. Do not hesitate. Ava turned, still wrapped in his jacket. I should return this. Keep it for now. He smiled, and it transformed his severe features into something warmer, something that made her pulse skip unexpectedly. It suits you better, Ava. She didn't know how to articulate the tumult inside her, the fear, the gratitude, the strange, profound sense of connection, as if their lives were now interwoven in a permanent way. I don't know how to thank you. You already have. You trusted me. He stepped back. Rest. Tomorrow we will handle the police report, the restraining order, ensuring your security. But tonight, just sleep. She nodded, but as he turned, she heard herself ask, Elias, at the lake house, why give me your jacket? You weren't cold. He looked back, and his expression held something that made her breath catch. Because you were shaking, and it seemed like the thing one should do.
To care for you.
After he left, Ava stood in the beautiful room and cried again, not from fear, but from the overwhelming relief of being seen, of being valued by a stranger who owed her nothing. She showered, scrubbing the chill and dirt from her skin, and found new pajamas laid on the bed, tags still attached. Before climbing in, she took out her phone and looked at the text thread with the wrong number that had saved her life. On impulse, she typed one more message. "Thank you for being the wrong number." Down the hall, Elias's phone buzzed. He read her words and felt that unfamiliar warmth in his chest expand into something perilous and new. He replied, "Sleep, Ava. I will be here when you wake." And he would be. Elias Thorne kept his promises. The next morning, Ava woke to sunlight and the aroma of coffee. For a disorienting moment, she didn't recognize the room, and then memory cascaded back. She dressed in her own clothes, now cleaned and folded outside her door, and went downstairs. Elias was in the kitchen, dressed in dark jeans and a charcoal sweater that made him look no less formidable. He looked up and smiled. "Good morning. Did you sleep?" "Better than I imagined possible," she admitted. "Is that coffee?" "Colombian roast." "Help yourself." "I attempted breakfast, but I am more proficient in boardrooms than at stoves." She laughed, the sound foreign and welcome. "I'm sure it's fine." They ate at the kitchen island, and the conversation flowed with surprising ease. He asked about her work as a freelance illustrator, her family in Colorado. She asked about Thorne Global, and he gave her the public version, the shipping lanes and trade agreements. But she could sense the depths he didn't articulate. "So, what now?" she finally asked. "With Leo." His expression grew serious. He is detained, unharmed, but contemplating his poor choices. "This afternoon we go to the precinct. You'll give your statement. I'll provide the evidence. A Detective Valdez is an acquaintance. She will ensure it is processed correctly. Then Leo Dawson will be prosecuted for unlawful imprisonment and attempted coercion. And should the system falter, which it will not because I will ensure it does not, he will still never come near you. I will guarantee it." Ava didn't ask how. "My apartment, my work, he knows where I am." "Already addressed," Elias said gently. "Your apartment was checked last night and additional security is being installed today. I contacted your studio manager this morning, explained a family emergency. She was concerned and insisted you take all the time you need." Ava set her cup down. "Elias, you've done so much. You can't just manage my entire life." "I am not managing. I am assisting." He leaned forward, his gaze intense.
Ava.
"Men like Leo prey on isolation, on the fear of having no resources. You reached out accidentally or not, and that connected us. I am not disengaging now." "Why not?" "I'm a stranger. A misdial." "You are not a stranger," he said, his voice quiet but absolute. "You are someone who needed aid and trusted me to give it. That carries weight." Their eyes held, and Ava felt the connection tighten into something palpable, something beyond gratitude or circumstance. Her phone rang, shattering the moment. She looked down.
"Chloe."
"Oh no," Ava breathed. "I never called Chloe back." "Answer it," Elias said. "Tell her you're safe." Ava picked up. "Chloe, I'm so sorry." "Ava Sullivan, where are you?" Chloe's voice was panicked. "I've been calling all night. I was ready to call the police." Chloe breathed. "I'm okay. I'm safe." Ava glanced at Elias. "Something happened with Leo. It's complicated, but I'm all right." She spent the next several minutes explaining. Elias gave her space, but remained a steady presence. By the end, Chloe was crying and demanding to see her. "She can come here," Elias offered. "Your friends should know you're secure." 20 minutes later, Chloe arrived in a whirlwind, hugging Ava fiercely before turning to Elias with a mix of awe and wariness. "You're Elias Thorne." "I am. The one with the complex business interests. Also the one who extracted your friend from a crawlspace before her ex could harm her further." Chloe studied him, then gave a single nod.
"Okay.
Then we're good." She turned back to Ava. "You're really all right?" "I really am." That afternoon, Elias drove Ava to the police station. Detective Valdez was a sharp, compassionate woman who took Ava's statement with efficiency and who exchanged a look of understanding with Elias that spoke of past, unorthodox cooperation. "We'll pick him up today," Valdez assured Ava. "With your statement and Mr. Thorne's evidence, we have plenty. He's not walking." "What about bail?" Ava asked nervously. "Already addressed," Elias said. "I've spoken with the DA. Given the severity, bail will be prohibitive. If by some remote chance it's met, I will know instantly." Valdez nodded. "Mr. Thorne has been thorough." Outside the station, Ava exhaled slowly. "Is it really over?" "The immediate threat is," Elias said. "There will be legal proceedings, but that's for the future. For now, you are safe."
He paused.
"Ava, I know the timing is impossible, but may I ask you something?"
"What?"
"Have dinner with me tonight. At a restaurant. Just the two of us." Her heart stumbled. "Elias, I just escaped a man who pretended to be someone he wasn't. The timing is catastrophic," he agreed. "I know. But from the moment I read your text, something altered for me. I can't define it. I only know I wish to know you, Ava. Not as someone I helped, but as yourself. If you need time, I will wait. If you need distance, I will provide it. But I had to ask." Ava looked at this man who had moved heaven and earth for a wrong number, who had been gentle with her shock and ruthless with her tormentor, who made her feel seen in a way Leo never had. "Yes," she said. "I'll have dinner with you." Elias's smile was like light breaking through clouds. That night, he took her to a small French bistro with candlelight and quiet music. They talked about art, about growing up in different worlds, about simple things. Elias was wryly humorous about his own intimidating reputation, candid about the complexities he navigated. "I won't claim my life is simple," he said over dessert. "My family's position brings complications, but it also means I can safeguard what matters." "Is that what I am?" Ava asked softly. "Something that matters?" "You are someone I would very much like to matter to," he corrected. "If you'll allow it." She reached across the table and took his hand. Over the following weeks, a pattern emerged. Elias was patient, never pushing, always steady. He was the man Leo had pretended to be. Leo accepted a plea deal, 12 years for kidnapping and attempted assault. His attorney's portrayal of a heartbroken man failed before the facts. At the sentencing, Elias sat beside Ava, his hand enveloping hers. "This is because of your courage," he murmured as Leo was led away. "You fought, you reached out, you testified." "It's because of us," she corrected. "I couldn't have done any of it without you." 6 months later, Ava moved into Elias's home, not out of fear, but love. 1 year after that night, Elias took her back to the lake house. It was slated for demolition. "I purchased the land," he said as they stood on the overgrown lawn. "I'm going to build something here. A community center, perhaps. Something that offers safety." Ava looked at him, tears in her eyes. "That's perfect." He drew a small box from his pocket. "Ava Sullivan," he said. "A misdial led you to me and rewrote my life. You made me believe in chance, in the possibility that broken roads can lead to beautiful places. I love you. I love your resilience, your spirit, the way you see the world. I love how you filled my home with light. I want to spend my life honoring the trust you placed in a stranger when you said you were scared." He opened the box. A diamond caught the late afternoon sun. "Will you marry me?" "Yes," she said, laughing through tears. "Yes, absolutely." He slid the ring onto her finger and kissed her there, on the ground where she had once been trapped, reclaiming it as a place of beginning. They married in the garden of his estate 3 months later. Chloe was her maid of honor. Elias's cousins, imposing but kind, stood as his groomsmen. In his vows, Elias promised to always answer her call, to always be her sanctuary. Ava promised to trust him with her heart, to build a life that honored their second chance. At the reception, Detective Valdez approached with a smile. "Congratulations. This is certainly the most unique happy ending to one of my cases." "Unique but right," Elias said, his arm around Ava's waist. "The best things often are," Valdez agreed. She looked at Ava. "You got lucky." "I did," Ava agreed. But she also thought of the choice she'd made in the crawlspace to fight, to reach out, to trust. Maybe it was more than luck, Elias said, holding her close. Luck that you found me. Choice that you trusted me. As they danced, Ava saw the simple stone bench Elias had placed under a willow tree, dedicated to his sister, the one whose call he hadn't answered in time. Thank you, Ava whispered toward it as they moved past. Thank you for making him who he is. Elias heard her, and his arms tightened around her. They had both been scarred by different tragedies. In finding each other, they had begun to heal. Years later, when people asked how they met, Ava would smile and say, I texted the wrong number. And when they looked puzzled, she'd add, but he was exactly the right person. And Elias would draw her close and murmur into her hair, the most important wrong number I ever answered. Because some errors are not errors at all. Some unintended paths lead you precisely where you belong. Some strangers are destined to become your shelter. And some desperate texts sent to a number you mistyped are answered by the person who will change your life forever. Ava had been locked in a crawlspace, terrified and alone. Elias had been a man haunted by a past failure, armored in guilt. They hadn't been looking for love or salvation, but they found both in a wrong number that became the beginning of everything.